Hi everyone, and welcome to our channel, your trusted source for smart science-backed health tips, especially for seniors. Avocados are packed with nutrients and often hailed as a superfood, and for good reason. Doctors recommend them, and health experts love their heart-healthy fats. But what if there are common avocado habits that could be undermining those health benefits, especially for seniors? Recent research suggests that certain ways of handling or eating avocados may affect your heart, liver, or even your digestion if not done properly, particularly in older adults or those with underlying health conditions. In today's video, we'll explore 6 surprising avocado mistakes, all backed by real scientific studies, that may reduce the health benefits of this amazing fruit, or even cause mild issues in sensitive individuals. Some of these habits are surprisingly common, and correcting them can help you get the most out of every bite safely and deliciously. If you're over 60, paying attention to these tips may help you better manage medications, digestion, and long-term wellness. Let us know in the comments where you're watching from your age and how often you eat avocado. Have you ever noticed anything unusual after eating it? We'd love to hear your story and share personalized tips. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more senior health insights. Now let's get started with the first avocado mistake to avoid. Mistake number 1. People on blood thinners eating avocados without understanding what it does to their blood. If you are taking Warfarin or any similar blood thinner and you are still eating avocados freely, you need to hear this clearly. You are changing how your blood clots without realizing it. Most people assume avocados are heart-healthy and safe in all situations. That assumption is exactly what causes silent complications. One medium avocado contains roughly 21 micrograms of vitamin K, about 26% of your daily allowance. Vitamin K directly influences clot formation. Your medication is designed to delay clotting. When you increase vitamin K intake suddenly, your medication no longer functions as calibrated. A documented case from the American Journal of Emergency Medicine 2018 reports a 68-year-old man who had been stable on warfarin for 3 years after valve surgery. He added avocado to his daily diet, believing it was heart-healthy. Within 2 weeks, his INR dropped from 2.5 to 1.2. That level means blood is no longer thinned, it is primed to clot. Shortly after, he experienced a mild stroke, not because the medication failed, but because his diet disrupted its effect. Dr. Robert Chen, cardiologist at Mount Sinai Hospital, makes one point very clear. Warfarin dosing is built on your usual vitamin K pattern. The drug is adjusted based on your standard intake. If you increase or decrease vitamin K suddenly, the medication loses precision, and the risk of clotting returns immediately. The mistake is not limited to whole avocados. Avocado oil, guacamole salad dressings, even green smoothies that blend avocado without you noticing, all of these count. Most people consume these casually, unaware that each serving shifts their INR. The solution is not total avoidance. The rule is consistency. If you want avocado in your diet, introduce it slowly and inform your doctor so your warfarin dose can be recalibrated. You must check your INR more frequently during dietary changes. This is not optional. INR is your only indicator that the medication is still working. Some newer blood thinners such as apixaban and rivaroxaban do not interact with vitamin K. That does not mean they are automatically better. It means they eliminate this specific risk. If you struggle to maintain consistent eating habits, it may be worth asking your physician whether switching medications is appropriate. To maintain safety while keeping avocado in your diet, track intake. Write down when and how much avocado you eat. Monitor other high vitamin K foods like spinach, kale, broccoli, and green tea. These combine and shift INR further. Inform your health provider of any consistent food pattern changes before your next blood test. Most patients who maintain small, steady avocado intake daily instead of large, irregular consumption find that their INR stabilizes and they can still enjoy the food. The risk comes from sudden increases, not from controlled routine. If you are on warfarin and you eat avocado whenever you feel like it, your INR is shifting whether you feel it or not. Do not wait for a clotting event to confirm it. Mistake number 2, consuming the avocado seed. If you are blending or grinding avocado seeds because social media called it a hidden superfood, you need to understand exactly what you are putting into your digestive tract. This is not a health hack. It is a direct mechanical and chemical threat to your intestines and heart. Influencers promote the seed by claiming it contains more antioxidants than the flesh. A 2013 Penn State analysis did detect phenolic compounds, but here is the part that is being deliberately ignored. The seed also contains persin at levels up to 100 times higher than the edible portion. Persin is a natural toxin. The antioxidants they mention remain chemically trapped inside the seed's dense, indigestible fiber. Your digestive enzymes cannot unlock them. Dr. Michael Roberts, Chief of Gastroenterology at Cedars-Sinai, has already operated on 7 patients in 2 years who consumed avocado seed powder. Once inside the gut, the seed's hard fragments do not dissolve in stomach acid. Instead, they scrape and puncture the intestinal wall, creating micro-perforations that quickly escalate into full-blown surgical emergencies. Example, a 26-year-old woman arrived at the ER after 3 weeks of adding seed powder to a smoothie. CT imaging confirmed multiple tears in the small intestine. She required immediate surgical intervention. From 2019 to 2023, the California Poison Control Center logged a 400% increase in avocado seed-related reports. These cases involve intestinal blockage, extreme constipation, allergic reactions, and cyanide-like toxicity. The seed contains compounds that convert into cyanogenic substances once metabolized, similar to apple seeds, but in significantly higher concentration. A 2021 FDA toxicology review confirmed that a single ground avocado seed delivers persin levels strong enough to cause heart muscle injury in animal models. Human testing is limited for ethical reasons, but real case reports show arrhythmia, chest tightness, and unstable pulse in people consuming seed powder regularly. Look at the mechanical side. Industrial grinders worth thousands of dollars are required to break these seeds into a consistent powder. Household blenders do not produce safe particle sizes. Visible chunks that appear small enough are still sharp enough to slice gut tissue. Internal bleeding and perforation often begin with microscopic tears that patients cannot feel until inflammation and infection set in. If reducing waste is your goal, avocado seeds have practical uses, but not as food. They can be composted for acidic soil plants, carved for craft use, or used to create natural dye. Your digestive system is not a processing unit for industrial-grade seed material. No qualified gastroenterologist, cardiologist, or clinical nutritionist recommends ingesting avocado seeds. Those who promote it are not practicing medicine, they are chasing engagement. Mistake number 3. Applying high heat to avocados and turning a heart-supportive food into a chemical risk. If you grill, fry, or add avocado to hot dishes, you are not just altering the taste, you are breaking down its fats and generating toxic compounds that damage DNA. Avocados are valued for their oleic acid, a monounsaturated fat known to support cardiovascular health and reduce inflammation. But this benefit exists only when the fat remains structurally intact. Oleic acid has a low smoke point, about 271 to 133 degrees. Once you exceed that temperature, the fat undergoes lipid peroxidation, a breakdown process that produces harmful byproducts rather than protective effects. A 2020 Journal of Food Science analysis confirmed that heating avocado oil to 356 degrees 180 degrees for just 10 minutes generated aldehydes and other toxic compounds in quantities that surpassed World Health Organization safety thresholds. Dr. Patricia Williams, biochemist and food toxicology specialist at Cornell University, explains that acrolein and hydroxyonenal form during this breakdown. Both chemicals are identified in multiple studies as direct DNA-damaging agents. Her lab measured that grilled avocado samples contained 15 times more hydroxyonenal than raw avocado. The heat impact is not limited to fat degradation. Avocados contain heat-sensitive nutrients such as vitamin C, vitamin K, folate, and vitamin B6. According to food chemistry, pan-frying avocado slices for 5 minutes destroyed up to 89% of vitamin C, 76% of folate, and 65% of vitamin B6. The very components that justify avocado's superfood status are eliminated by heat exposure. The next concern is acrylamide formation. When avocados brown due to heat, acrylamide, the same compound formed in burnt toast and overcooked French fries, develops. The International Agency for Research on Cancer has classified acrylamide as a probable human carcinogen. European Food Safety Authority testing detected 185 micrograms of acrylamide per kilogram in grilled avocado samples, levels that exceed recommended intake limits. From a culinary perspective, high heat destroys not only the nutrient profile, but also the structure. The flesh turns fibrous, bitter, and loses its creamy consistency. Many professional chefs have already removed hot avocado dishes from menus due to repeated customer complaints and rising awareness of the related biochemical hazards. To use avocados correctly in warm dishes, do not apply heat directly. Add them after cooking and only when the food temperature drops below 140 degrees Celsius. In sushi, use avocado at room temperature. For pasta, toss avocado into warm, not steaming noodles. For sauces and dressings, prepare them cold and apply them after cooking is complete. If you want a smoky or grilled flavor, cook the accompanying ingredients like peppers or corn. First allow them to cool slightly, then combine with fresh avocado. Some culinary professionals now use smoking devices to infuse flavor into raw avocado without heat exposure. Modern avocado preparation is moving toward nutrient preservation, combined with flavor enhancement using cold techniques. Adopting this shift is not a trend. It is a corrective measure based on biochemical data, digestive safety, and nutrient retention. Mistake number 4. Eating avocado when you have latex sensitivity, even mild. If latex gloves, balloons, or rubber bands have ever caused itching, swelling, or irritation on your skin, you are in the risk group. The same immune trigger can be activated when you eat avocado, even if you've never had a reaction to food before. This connection is identified as latex fruit syndrome. Avocados contain chitinase proteins that are structurally similar to the proteins in natural rubber latex. Your immune system does not distinguish between the two. Once it is trained to react to latex, it responds the same way to avocado. A clinical review in the Annals of Allergy, Asthma, and Immunology confirmed that 53% of individuals with latex allergies also react to avocados. Dr. Jennifer Patel, immunologist at Johns Hopkins, reports that reactions range from mild oral itching to rapid anaphylaxis. She documents a case involving a 34-year-old nurse with only mild latex irritation from gloves. After eating guacamole in a restaurant, she experienced throat swelling, restricted breathing, and blood pressure collapse within minutes. Only immediate epinephrine injection prevented a fatal outcome. The chitinase proteins responsible for this reaction are heat stable. They survive cooking, frying, and processing. That means avocado oil carries the same risk for sensitive individuals. Heat does not neutralize the allergen. Another overlooked factor is cross-contamination. Restaurants commonly use latex gloves during food handling. Latex protein can transfer to avocado dishes even if the allergic person does not consume latex directly. In individuals with sensitized immune systems, this low-level exposure is enough to trigger a reaction. Bananas, kiwis, chestnuts, and papayas share the same cross-reactive protein structure. These foods form the latex fruit syndrome group. A 2019 European study on 500 latex allergic patients found that 89% reacted to at least 2 foods in this group. If you react to one, statistical probability indicates increased reactivity to the others. If you suspect any form of latex sensitivity, allergy testing is the only safe next step. Skin prick testing or specific IgE blood analysis can confirm whether avocado is a trigger. Preparation methods do not alter the risk. There is no safe cooking technique to neutralize the allergenic protein. For individuals with confirmed latex fruit syndrome, complete avoidance is the protocol, not reduction. Minimal traces can activate a reaction in highly sensitive cases. If you choose to eat outside your home and have any history of latex response, carry an epinephrine auto-injector. Notify servers clearly, not just no latex, but specifically no avocado, no cross-contact. Be aware that avocado is now used in sauces, spreads, breads, and even hidden in healthy emulsions for texture. The risk is not theoretical. It is documented, biochemical, and statistically supported. Mistake number 5. Blending unripe avocados into smoothies. If you believe the blender will fix a hard avocado, you are ignoring what happens inside your digestive tract after you drink it. Texture is not the issue, biology is. Unripe avocados contain significantly higher persin levels. Persin is a natural plant toxin used as a defense mechanism. As the fruit matures, persin declines. A 2020 Journal of Agricultural and Food Chemistry study measured that unripe avocados carry 3.7 times more persin compared to ripe ones. Dr. Lisa Thompson, gastroenterologist at UCLA Medical Center, identifies a recurring pattern she calls avocado gut. Patients report bloating, stomach cramping, and sudden diarrhea after drinking avocado smoothies. Her clinical review consistently traces it back to using firm, underripe fruit. Unripe avocados also contain resistant starches and higher tannin content. These elements are not neutral. They induce gastrointestinal stress, especially when consumed blended and raw. The immediate symptoms are discomfort, but the long-term effect is microbiome disruption. A 2022 Stanford University report confirmed that resistant starch from unripe avocados feeds a different bacterial group than the one supported by ripe fruit. Beneficial gut bacteria declined by up to 23% in just 4 weeks among individuals consuming underripe avocado regularly. The impact is both mechanical and metabolic. The gritty fiber structure of unripe avocado does not emulsify fully in a blender. Harsh particles irritate the digestive lining, while the bitter compounds alter taste and reduce smoothie quality. The result is neither nutritionally optimal nor digestively safe. Ripeness can be verified in seconds. The fruit should yield under gentle palm pressure, not finger pressure. The stem button should detach easily and reveal green flesh underneath. If the button is stiff, it is underripe. If it reveals brown, it is past nutritional peak. To accelerate ripening safely, place the avocado in a paper bag alongside a banana or apple. These fruits release ethylene gas, which reduces ripening time from 5 days down to 2 to 3 days. Do not microwave or bake the fruit to fake soften it. These methods do not reduce persin and do not alter resistant starch content. Softening is not the same as ripening. If the goal of adding avocado to a smoothie is gut-supportive fats and creamy texture, only ripe fruit meets that purpose. Unripe avocado delivers the opposite digestive irritation and microbiome shift, masked under the illusion of a healthy smoothie. Using unripe avocado is not an efficiency hack. It is a chemical and biological stress load swallowed cold through a straw. Mistake number 6. Leaving the pit in a cut avocado and assuming it prevents browning. The idea sounds logical. Keep the pit in and the avocado stays green. But this belief is not supported by biochemical evidence. It has been repeated so often that it feels like common sense, but what actually happens inside the fruit tells a different story. A 2019 controlled experiment by the University of California Food Science Department tested this exact claim using 100 avocados split evenly. Each fruit was cut in half. One side was stored with the pit intact, the other without. After 24 hours at standard refrigerator temperature, researchers used digital imaging analysis to measure browning. The result, the pit only reduced browning by 2%, limited strictly to the spot it physically covered. The remaining exposed surface oxidized at the same rate as the piteless half. There was no meaningful protective effect. Dr. Sarah Martinez, lead researcher, explains that browning is caused by polyphenol oxidase, an enzyme that activates as soon as avocado flesh is exposed to oxygen. The pit has no chemical role. It simply blocks oxygen from the small area it touches. The rest of the surface remains fully exposed and continues to oxidize. The real risk goes beyond appearance. Many people store pit-in avocados longer than they should, assuming they are protected. A 2021 FDA food safety review found that improperly stored avocados held for more than 48 hours developed Listeria monocytogenes growth, a bacteria responsible for listeriosis, a foodborne infection that kills approximately 260 Americans per year. This infection is especially dangerous for pregnant women, with documented cases of miscarriage and stillbirth linked to listeria exposure. Correct preservation protocol does not rely on the pit. Here is the scientifically supported storage method. Apply lemon or lime juice directly to the exposed surface. Citric acid reduces enzyme activity by lowering surface pH. Seal the avocado tightly with plastic wrap, pressing it directly against the flesh to physically block oxygen exposure. Refrigerate in the crisper drawer where humidity levels support moisture retention and slow oxidation. When applied correctly, this method extended freshness up to 72 hours with limited browning in laboratory testing. For extended preservation, airtight avocado storage containers provide a measurable benefit. Some models include a built-in lemon juice reservoir that continuously releases citric acid vapor, maintaining a low pH microenvironment. According to Consumer Reports 2023, independent testing these containers extended freshness up to 5 days. The takeaway is simple. The pit is not a preservation tool. It is an unreactive plant structure with no biochemical effect on enzyme oxidation or bacterial growth. Relying on it encourages unsafe storage duration and false confidence. If the goal is to keep avocado safe and usable, controlled acidity, oxygen exclusion, and cold storage, not folklore, are the determining factors. That completes 6 avocado mistakes that most people never connect to their health. If even one of these applies to you, the right time to adjust is now, not after symptoms appear. Thank you for staying with this video until the end. Most viewers click away, but you stayed. And that already sets you apart from the majority who leave their health to chance. If you want more science-based guidance like this, clear, direct, and made for people over 60, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss what comes next. And if you know someone who eats avocado regularly without understanding these risks, send them this video. One shared link can prevent a complication.